Alrighty, just making sure our preview is good, and I think it is. Alright, today we're going to be making a fuller version of that ramen. We got some Bok Choy. We'll be using some Shin noodles today. And then just, I believe I forgot what meat this is, but this is from Costco. They give it in a bunch of strips. I forgot the name of it. So we have our water setup, and then we have our pot setup. Let's actually wash hands. Oh, I washed them earlier, but do it again just for the video. Up here are my nice little. Alright, first thing I'll do is actually set up the water. We have our little guest right here. That should be fine. And then I like to just pour this right here. And then we actually get this started a bit, so ignite this and then sit on low heat. Make sure it's all balanced. Okay, it's on low heat. We're gonna turn on the fan to medium, and then we're gonna begin the process here. I'm gonna go get my trusty knife out. This is the 4.5 inch parer. Okay, let's get this bag open. Alrighty, very nice. Yeah, let's prep the vegetables first. So, I'm not a huge fan of the stem, to be honest. I'm going to cut half, I believe. Half is fine in my opinion. We'll just be doing that. I'm gonna finish all of this and then re-record. Alright, we are back with this all cut up, so we will wash these. And someone's in the way. Hey, out of the way, out of the way. Back at the hand, out the way. Have you move. Hey, move, come on. So, take this and you just pour some water into it. I'm still learning about this camera angle and what the best position is. Trying a slightly different angle today. I don't think I have to compensate for anything with the camera angle. I think from what I learned, I just need to just do this like normal. If I just follow my eyes, the camera should match. But yeah, I'm just gonna submerge this in water just to get all the grime off, if there is any. That was the initial soak. I'm gonna pour this and do one more clean soak, and that should be ready. And the second submerge should just clean it. And I forgot to get eggs, so I will not be cracking an egg today. I would have liked to crack an egg. Put this on this plate, it's fine. She's staring at the window again. Cool, so that's all prepped. Let me go dry my hands a bit. And move this back to over here. And we move this here to prep. The water's not done yet, but I'm going to be adding some of this into it. Alright, so the water is ready, and normally the Shin Ramen comes with the vegetable mix and then this spicy mix, but I am gonna add an extra one from the Indomie for this one. So let's go get that prepped. Cool, so what I like to do first is add the mixes here, so I'm gonna do that. And then let's put it here. Let's put the dried onion. Along with the Indomie mix. And then we're also going to be pouring the spicy mix. I personally prefer to put about half. Half I think is pretty good. And then let me go get an underplate down here. And then we have our big spoon. So I like to mix in the sauce first. With the water boiling, you can already smell it, so it's pretty good. Now that that's ready, the first thing I like to do at this point is to actually put the vegetables in. So our hands are already washed, so you just grab this and just put this in there. You want to put in your hand, so you just do it slowly so the water doesn't splash. And it should all go right in. Dump this here. Boop. And here we are just going to try to submerge as much of this as we can. And to give it some time to cook. The reason why we don't use that much water is because we want to try to preserve as much of the flavor to the broth as much as possible. And I believe the more water you have, the more it dilutes that flavor. So we'll still have some broth, but we're going to keep a lot of flavoring, which is more ideal in my opinion. And so now that's a bit settled, which is very nice. We're gonna let that settle right there. And then we are going to add our actual ramen pack this time. Shin comes in a circle, which is kind of cool, instead of like the usual square. Put that in there. Cool. And then while this sits on top, I'm gonna let it let the water boil a bit. And then once it gets a bit more waterlogged, shall I say, we'll just move the ramen pack a bit more. So we'll return when that happens. Alrighty, we are returning to this. Take the lid off. What are you doing in here? What are you doing in here? Yes, so now you see that the ramen is a bit more waterlogged, so now it's going to be easier to actually push this in, so we can actually submerge it with the water. And the vegetables do take a bit longer to fully cook compared to the ramen pack, which is super quick. So that's why we put the vegetable first and then the ramen. So this is mostly good. We can actually take a bit of some of the vegetables and then just kind of do the submerging too. So that'll be fine. So we're at the point where we're almost going to spread the ramen out once it's a bit more cooked. Alrighty, we are back and this should be ready now. Check, yep, it is moving around now, so we can actually turn off our stove. Spreads a little bit. And then this is basically ready. But we're gonna reuse this pot for the beef. However, I don't want to actually put the raw beef in here, so we're gonna use a separate separate instance. So what I like to do is I have a smaller pot. This has a lid, so it's gonna retain the heat for this while we cook the beef. So we just take our little grabby things and we just put this in here. Go slow because we don't want to splatter. Give it a little shake. And it should just get into here nicely. Again, I'm just trying to be careful so I don't splatter. It's not a big deal if you splatter, it's just I just prefer not to. And the rest of this, we just scrape over a big spoon. So now that that's been done, we just put the lid back on and then we just put this away for a bit. Right here. And what we're gonna do is re-boil the water. So we're gonna use the same amount of water here. Roughly this much. And we are going to put this back into here. So we are just going to ignite again and turn it a bit low, but we are going to basically come back when the water is nearly boiled. Alright, so the water is still boiling, but I've prepped the meat already. This was frozen, but the day before I just took it out of the freezer and I put it in the fridge to just defrost. So it's one of those things where, like, if you know you're gonna cook this thing the next day, then that's when you just put this from the freezer into the fridge. And for our seasoning, we're going to be using primarily these two that I really like. So we're going to be using garlic salt. I think that's just, you know, a good way to just get some salt in there, some good basic flavoring. And I am going to be using the Chile lime adobo seasoning today. I normally put this on chicken, but I found out it actually goes really well with this too. So it's kind of up to you what you want to use here. I have a few other ones I've tried before. I had this one. Okay, this one I feel like is specifically for chicken. This chicken one. I haven't tried this on the steak yet, or the beef, but I wouldn't want to. And then I also have garlic parmesan, which also is, I think, better for chicken. Since we have a brief intermission here, we could check in on Navi, see how she's doing. Her little ear scratches here. Hey Navi, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? You're gonna be famous one day, Navi. If you're cooking and you have pets, just gotta make sure to wash your hands after, especially when you're cooking. Alright, so we are just about ready. We can see some of the water bubbling, so I am going to put on a, let's put on my right hand, one of these disposable gloves I like to use when I'm touching this raw beef. This is technically not necessary, but I just like it. So because it's getting ready, I'm gonna actually I'm gonna put some of this garlic salt first. So you don't have to put that much. Just enough. And then I like to swirl this a bit. Close this, and then we will grab a pair of chopsticks. We're gonna do individual slices first, and then we'll dump the rest of it. Yeah, so it's almost ready. All right, we are actually ready now. Gas stoves are very fast. All right, so I like to get small little pieces at a time. This one's not the smallest one, but sort of just individual placements. And this this actually heats up, or it gets cooked very, very fast. So just gotta watch for it. We can actually just take the rest of this, and we should just be good here. Cool. And with that, we can actually take this, our glove as well, and do it inside out so we don't get anything on our hands. And we just throw this there. Now, with chopsticks, we just make sure we submerge all of this. Make sure this cooks. Yeah, once I stop seeing red, that's when I like to add my lime seasoning. So, you know, more flavor is always good, so let's add a decent amount. And we can use the big spoon and then just move this around. And so this is almost done. Like I said, this cooks really, really fast. The reason why I like cooking this in separate pot is because all the extra juices that just come out of the beef and into the pot, I don't want any of that, and so I'd rather not have that in the main dish when it gets created. Yeah, you can already smell the seasoning. Yep, and that should be good. So now I'm going to close the flames. And this is ready to be served into the main eating pot. So, from earlier, we still retain this heat. And so we don't actually need this. We can actually just do a transfer. So yeah, now we can just transfer this into this bowl. Put it right up against it. It's fine. And that should basically be it. We can turn off the fan now. So yeah, this is what we have made. Let's see if we can get the camera angle in here. But this is Shin Ramen with Bok Choy and beef. This is a pretty good meal for dinner or lunch. And it's pretty easy to make, I think. It's pretty beginner friendly. You just have to make sure that you get the beef prepared beforehand. Yeah, and that's it for this one. I'm gonna try to cook something a bit different than noodles in the next one. I'm gonna be referring to this Korean cookbook, but we'll see how that turns out in the next one. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.